What's up, guys? This is a crippler, Chris Leben, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
So, Will, we're fresh off of an interview with Mr. Landry Ward, the Lone Star Kid. I'm pretty excited for that to come out.
Definitely.
That was a lot of fun. When it does come out, it will be on the YouTubes, on Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Google Podcasts. So not just the interview, but anything else we upload. Is that right? Did I miss anything? I'll take that as a no.
I thought Rich was going to pipe in.
Rich the Casual, did I miss anything?
No, that was everything. Great job.
Yeah. All right. Getting better at promoting ourselves. So
Are we getting better?
I'm probably not. Not really.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Yeah, all that other fun stuff. All right, so, man, last weekend we went from not having anything to talk about to now we have a ton to talk about.
A ton. Also, so we're going to cover a lot of stuff in this one. So if there's stuff you don't care about, we'll have timestamps in the description and in the comments. So if there's a particular fight you want to listen to, you can always just drop down and click on the fight that you want to hear about, because we're going to be covering Bareknuckle Boxing real quick first, and then the UFC that just passed. So if you don't care about Bareknuckle Boxing, if you only want to hear about Paige Vanzant, if you only want to hear about Overeem, you can just click on whatever fight you want to listen to in the comments or the description.
But you know what? I thought I didn't care about Bareknuckle Boxing. And now I do care about Bareknuckle Boxing after watching this last event.
Definitely. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's just production quality is getting there. Not quite there yet. There's some things going on that are just a little bit suspect. But I'll be honest. I enjoyed myself watching it.
Dude,
It was fun.
I know. And I had always said, like, Bareknuckle Boxing, I'll probably never watch that. And, like, I can't remember what the names of the girls were, the first ones that I started watching there. And I was like, dude, I feel
this last card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Segala versus Starling fight, which was brutal.
And I was like, I feel dirty for liking this.
Yeah.
But I absolutely enjoyed it. But it's part of it is the fights, right? I mean, we can get started here with Leben.
Yeah. And if you haven't already, we interviewed Chris Leben right before he was leaving to go to Florida for this fight. So that was cool to talk to him right before he had his retirement fight. So check that out.
Talk about a way to go out.
Man, I was going to watch this no matter what, because Chris Leben's one of my all-time favorites, like top 3 favorite fighters of all time. And yeah, man, it was cool to see the guy, he handpicked his opponent. I don't know what kind of testing they're doing over there in Bareknuckle Boxing, but
or none.
Dude was or none. But dude was jacked. Not only was he jacked, but remember when remember Spider-Man 1 when Tobey Maguire, he makes his own suit and then he goes to that like Rage in the Cage type thing, and it's Randy Savage and they're just going crazy as the bone saw. That's how Quentin Henry came out. That dude's just like screaming and just like full intense, coming out with like the America song, right? The old
Hulk Hogan entrance.
Yeah, and he's American flagged out. He comes out with the sunglasses and the mullet and the beard. And I was like, dude, this guy is an animal. Like, I think he's had so much testosterone injected into him that he's at this point not even a human anymore. This man is a certified animal. And I was like, what is going to happen right now?
Man, but perfect pick for Leben, right? Or by Leben, because this guy just came straight at Leben. And, dude, Leben got caught with a couple of good shots. There was, like, a right hook in there that was like, ugh. I
know. I was like, please.
Dude, that chin held in there, though. And he got the job done. And I was just so excited for him to be able to say this is my retirement fight. And he can go out comfortably. Because there's a lot of fighters sometimes where if they get knocked out for their last fight, they're like, well, one more. Maybe one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to go out the right way.
Put the cat smash on, dude. Put the stamp on him, dude. Because I went from... oh, God, who is this? This guy's gnarly. It's Chris Leben, though. He can handle this. He's fought savages before. And then I was like, this is going well. This is going well. We had him in the uppercut. He was landing the old uppercuts like he knocked out Wanderlei Silva with. And I was like, this is classic
awesome.
Leben here. And all of a sudden he goes down. And I was like, what? And I was like, is it over? And he's complaining about an eye poke. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And then I went from nervous to excited to extremely pissed off and then ecstatic again because he was complaining about an eye poke. And back to Spider-Man 1, he's on his knees holding his eye saying he can't see and just starts screaming. He's just like, wah, wah, wah. And I was like, what's happening? And you look over and Chris Leben's like pacing like, is the fight still on? Like, what's going on? And they're saying it's an eye poke. They show the replay. In the clinch,
punched in the eye.
Got punched right in the eye. They don't have gloves on, so the knuckle went in. Not an eye poke. So I was like, okay, cool. It's a TKO. Chris just won. This is awesome. And then he stands up. Ref walks over. Wasn't an eye poke. If you can't continue, it's a TKO. You still have 5 minutes. And I was like, what? 5 minutes for what? It's a TKO.
You're getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I got punched in the face. Give me 5 minutes.
No,
What is this the rules here?
Was that he was like, my eye poke, I can't see. And right away the announcer was like, dude, you do not want to say you can't see because that's the fastest way to get a fight stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I can't see. And the ref's like, dude, we just watched the replay. Wasn't eye poke. If you can't continue, it's TKO. And he goes, oh, dude, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm just like, wait, what just happened?
Props to him though, because other people would be like I said, that there was some suspect fights in here. I don't think people were throwing fights, but I do think people, and there's nothing wrong with this, people would get clocked clean and realize I don't want to be in here, and they'd go down.
Yeah.
I saw people even arguing that about this fight, but if that were the case, he would have taken that TKO right there.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, after that, at that point, I was like, this should be over already. This dude just got 2 or 3 minutes to recover from a clean punch. So, like, what the fuck's happening? It should be over. And I was like, if he somehow knocks out Chris right now, I'm going to be so goddamn mad. And then he came forward and was, like, swinging heavy shots. And I was like, fuck, man, this is not ideal. And then he cracked Chris good. And I was like, oh, fuck. But then it was like, oh, it's Chris Leben, though. So now he's going to get started.
He ate that shot like nothing.
He was just like, he just ate it for breakfast, and then it was like, now my turn. And then bam, 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 dude's flying across the ring.
Slinging and banging.
Fuck. Yeah, slinging and banging, dude. So Chris Leben, man, the crippler, goes out with a massive first-round knockout. It was so sick to watch against a legit animal.
This is part of what got the night going for me, was the way that he was screaming as he was walking in, and then the way that he was sitting there holding his eye going, ah! And I thought to myself, like, such drama and theatrics, and it just had everything. And like you talk about your ballet of emotions, Will, where it's just all over the place. Yeah. I had a lot of confusion throughout the entire night, and we can cover this as we continue going. But the next fight was brutal Johnny Bedford versus Nguyen.
That win, and dude, this fight, honestly, theatrics and bullshit aside, and the shit show and circus that some of these fights were, dude, this was a very fun, exciting fight. This was fucking awesome. I remember each round, at the end of every round, I was like, are they gonna slow down? Like, what the it was crazy. This was a gnarly fight. I thought that win should have got the decision. Also, one of the most Pride walkouts since Pride with the Raiden. The Mortal Kombat music. He walks out with the robe and the hat, and his son's right there walking out with him too. And I was like,
with the little sword or something.
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking awesome, dude.
I do like that Bareknuckle Boxing is letting them get creative with some of their entrances. Like, I don't remember who it was, but there was one person that had like 2 girls walk out.
It was Hunt.
They covered the camera, and then they look back and they're like, oh, where's the fighter? So they go back, and then the fighter comes out, and then they walk back out with him. I'm like, what is going on?
I know. It was such a shit show, dude. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole thing.
But that first round with Bedford, man, there was a couple shots where right away you could kind of see where he was like, oh, fuck, like this guy can crack. And that
that wins a legit boxer, dude.
Oh,
Super legit.
for sure. And that pace that they had going in the first round took a lot out of Johnny Bedford. And you could see it right away as soon as the second round started that the speed wasn't the same. He wasn't able to get in and out as quickly as he was the first couple minutes of that round. Man, that was just really, really high paced.
Yeah, it was a fucking really fun fight to watch. I'll probably rewatch it soon, actually, because man, I fell in love with that Wynn's fight style, dude. Just just planting his feet and just hooking his way through. And he was throwing so many cool combinations that I think Bedford was just like, he was like, where the fuck are these punches coming from? And yeah, man, the guy has a ton of style. Some fighters fight very well. Some fighters have a ton of style. And Dat Nguyen has a ton of style with the way he fights. And it's effective. You know, he was cracking them. And it wasn't a one-sided fight. You know, each round was still very close. But I'm glad he got the win. All of a sudden, I care about bare-knuckle boxing.
All of a sudden, major fans.
Yeah, dude. I'll watch the next fight for sure.
To watch brutal Johnny Bedford lose his title there. I mean, his Fitness Fight Factory is literally right around the block from my house over here. So
yeah,
I was rooting him on. He'll be back, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the division looks like over there, but...
I can't say I've done a lot of studying in that division, Will, but I'm sure he'll be back. Oh, but there was some random guy that ran in there, and the announcer
started trying to take everything.
The owner, he's like, "Is it?" Yeah, Nate Diaz style. He's like, "Can I?" And the owner's like, "Yeah, it's fine." I'm like, "What's going on right now?" And the guy's like, "You aren't anything until you beat me." And he's like, "Dude, Johnny Bedford beat you." And it was like this back and forth again. The drama, the theater.
Dude, and how about what's the president's name? The Dana White of this company? Because
Great Value Dana.
Yeah, he looked furious. When they gave it to Dat Nguyen, he's just standing there like...
He looked furious, and he looked like he had just done around. A couple lines before.
No. He looked like he did a couple lines right before the fight and is coming down and was just like, I got to get back to my Coke. I need more.
Exactly.
He looked furious. And then, which brings us to the next fight. The Paige Vanzant debut, the long-awaited Paige Vanzant debut. And he looked even more furious after that one.
Dude, yeah. And I mean, I thought it was a nice recovery when they asked him about Paige and what he thought about Paige. And he said, just the fact that she was want to go outside of her comfort zone, that she came in here and did bare-knuckle boxing. It's hard to do that. Either way, like she did it, And so at the end of the day, Paige being on that card, I'm sure sold a lot of pay-per-views. I mean, more than they have in the past, I'm sure. Can we say that?
Leben being on that card. I think Leben being on the card sold pay-per-views.
Okay, well, come on.
Because we put his affiliate link in the description of our interview with him.
But by the way, so we had Derwin Lamb when he was still coaching Kevin Holland, and Kevin Holland got a win. Not only did he get a win, he went on a streak. I like to think that part of that's because of us. Leben comes on, and
Frank Camacho we still don't know yet.
Frank Camacho, no, but I'm sure when he does fight, he's going to go in with that story of the fight power. Boom, there we go. So we're 3-0 right now. We're 3-0.
Yeah.
Frank Camacho beat COVID. Kevin Holland goes on a streak. And now Mr. Chris Leben gets a W, all thanks to story of the fight. You're welcome.
Landry Ward, next fight, UFC confirmed.
Boom. Oh, dude, I can't wait. But with the final fight with Paige, in the first, it seemed like she was a little hesitant. Mm-hmm. And then she finally, felt a couple punches here and there.
I feel like around round 3 is when she started realizing where she was and being okay with the situation she was in. The first 3 rounds, I think she was like, I don't want to get hit with this. This hurts when I hit her. I don't know if the adrenaline was even pumping for her. It looked like she was very much like still testing the waters for 3 rounds. Yeah. The 5th round, I mean, she won the 5th round in my opinion. And if she fought like that, she would have.
Exactly.
When she started coming forward, actually, that was when she
hurt
was
Hart.
having success. Yeah.
She hurt Hart in that 5th round. If she would have had another round, I think it would have. That's a big if, right? She probably would have been able to finish it. And especially considering that Hart's not a person.
Yeah.
Hart is a feeling. She's again.
The way she said it was like, dude. The way when she said feeling, it sounded, and it felt like she was nodding off on heroin. Dude, what a roller coaster that interview was.
I don't want to just sit up here and talk shit about bare-knuckle boxing because the fact that they're even going in there to do this is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's nuts. And Paige looked good, and Paige is a striker. Okay, so for Hart to come in here and to beat Paige at her own game in that, I mean, props to Hart. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, she was a boxer before, so she's got plenty of experience. I do think Paige was just very slow to adjust to. I think honestly, hearing what Leben says about when you're backstage at these events and it's like a Civil War tent in the back and people's fucking faces are hanging off and they're just like, and you're just like, what am I gonna go do? Like, I'm gonna go do this now. Every time it cut to Paige throughout the event, it looked like she was reconsidering her signing,
Her life.
Yeah, and then like I said, it took her so long to adjust in the fight. But now that she's made that adjustment, we'll see what she does from here. But I think if they fought again, honestly, I think she'd probably run through her. If she didn't have to make that first time adjustment, I think she probably runs through her. If she starts the fight comfortable.
So after the end of the fight, this Hart girl is in the middle of talking about how she's not a person, she's a feeling.
I'm a
all these
shark.
different
I
things.
regrow my teeth.
Yeah, Beth Rawlings pushed my teeth back. Paige Vanzant knocked my teeth out, but I'm a shark. And I was just like, man, this is awesome. You're getting a little bit of everything right now. Exactly. And then to top it off, all of a sudden this arm comes out of nowhere and water is flying in Hart's face. And the camera, they switch over to, and God bless their hearts to that production team, because they switch over to a different camera right away, and you're like, oh, there's who is this
third
girl?
Party.
Yeah, third party is now, they have just entered the arena. And and
then she was gone.
And then she was gone.
Just
like that.
Bam, you bitch, blah, blah, blah. And then out. And it's like, who was that?
And then she goes and sits down again in the ringside. I'm like, wait, what just happened?
And the whole time, the owner, the president, the guy running this whole show is just like...
He's like, yeah, okay.
Just not even... It's like, did he see it? Obviously it was planned, but...
Dude, just another day at the office, my man. Just another day at the office.
Could not care less.
But I'm a subscriber now.
Yeah, honestly,
$3.99 a month.
My line of thinking here was I'm gonna watch this because of Chris Leben, and I'm not gonna miss his retirement fight. Right? We talked to him before the fight, so how could I not watch it? And it's just Chris Leben. And then he retires. Cool. So there's really no reason for me to come back to this, right? But then Datwin came in and just like, he reminded me a lot of Takanori Gomi, like the Fireball Kid. Like the way like his head position, like the strikes he was throwing, he would just dig deep, go toe to toe. And you know what, dude? I'll definitely watch his next fight. I think their next event is headlined by Leonard Garcia. I will not be watching that because I don't want to see that. But then, no disrespect to Leonard Garcia, I just don't want to see that. He's been through so many wars already, and
you mentioned Gomi, and it just reminded me of something. But the other day, I'm working with Rich the Casual, and we just happened to be on lunch at the same time, and I got him to watch a fight during lunch.
Was it Nick Diaz versus Gomi?
No, it was Don Fry versus Yoshihiro Takayama.
Takayama, rest in peace.
Pride.
Yeah.
Straight Pride. And Rich the Casual, what'd you think about that?
Man, that fight was like two freight trains piling into each other, and like all the cars behind each of the freight trains are just piling towards each other too. Like it's just, oh my
That's
god.
a good way to describe it.
It was crazy. And what was that guy's name? The epitome of American, like, muscle. Don Fry.
Predator.
Man, that guy, he needs to have a whole like anime about him. Like that guy.
Yeah.
Whew.
Don Fry was legit, man.
What a spectacle! That was a spectacle. Okay, I'll
it's like what Tom Selleck wishes he was.
Yeah, dude, so burly. Like if you look up manliness or burliness, he should be on the brawny, tissue paper or whatever.
Yeah,
I like it. Oh, so finally
that fight was nuts, though.
Rich the Casual to watch a fight, and I was like, we're gonna take advantage of this time together.
A non-UFC fight.
Yeah,
that's even more impressive.
Yeah, so talk to him a little bit about Pride and why it is that you love Pride so much, exactly. But so now that we got done with the Bareknuckle Boxing, you want to move on over to UFC Vegas 18, was it?
Yeah, UFC Vegas 18, the night of dreams being shattered.
All right, so let's. I know, man, that last part was so rough. So
not even just
Zalal
that,
versus Choi.
Real quick, not much to talk about. Ode Osborne. started the night, first round knockout. He caught the high kick, threw the pipe, dropped him. Shout out O'Day Osborne. His last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights have ended in the first round, win or lose. So he's a must watch. That's all I really need to say about him. 7 fights in a row ended in the first round.
7 fights in a row ended in the first round?
Win or lose, it's an exciting fight.
Oh, that's
Gotta
awesome.
love
So, what did you think of that first fight?
The first fight, the O'Day Osborne one, or the first one we're going to cover?
Sorry, the first one we're going to cover.
Yeah, Youssef Zalal, very hyped coming into this fight. I think he's won 4 of his last 5 going into this. And just really kind of just looks like the complete package, right? Like a young prospect who's putting it all together, just pure mixed martial arts, you know? I think he's a striker, right? Like by nature, right? Like that's his priority. But I think his last few wins have come from submissions. Just kidding. But he does have some submissions. His last loss was the Ilya Tupuria, who was very impressive, but Zalal did look good there. They went to decision. And yeah, he just seemed like kind of the complete package. And it seemed like the commentary team and everybody going into this fight were pretty much just guaranteeing that he was going to win this fight by some method. And then Seungwoo said, "Hold my Choi," and just outclassed him, honestly. Put on a fantastic performance.
I would have liked to see Zalal because there was a lot of in and out, right? Quick hit and out, in and out. I would have liked to see him throw more combinations because everything just seemed to be that one punch and then he'd back off right away. You know?
Yeah, he did a lot of dodging too, but then no countering on it, which was kind of a theme of the night. And Seungwoo Choi, he was just, man, his striking was so crisp, and like his range was just, it was perfect. He was clipping them. I mean, obviously, I just said Zalal was slipping a lot of punches, but there was also a lot of punches he wasn't slipping, and yeah, just really good defensive grappling from Choi. I thought it was super smart.
67% takedown defense.
Yeah, and not just that, but nice reversals from him. Got a takedown at the end of the first, finished the round in his guard. I mean, just a complete package from him. You could everything they were saying about Zalal could be applied to Choi after this fight. Complete package. He really looked like he was putting it together. And I know he has 3 losses, right? And yeah, he lost his first 2 UFC fights. But if you look at who he lost to, man, Evloev, Gavin Tucker, like those are like legit fighters. Man. Yeah, that's a hard road. I mean, they've given him, yeah.
So for Choi ended 43-16 on significant strikes for that fight. I didn't think it was that lopsided until I saw it, and I was like, oh man, I guess so. Not just that, but whenever Choi would land, it just hit different from when Zalal was landing. There's just so much more power behind those shots. Yeah, very
stiff on everything. Good leg kicks.
On that interview, I don't know what's been going on lately again, but did you notice where DC asked a question and Choi's in there and he's like, and then finally the translator kicked in. I'm like, what? Come on.
I know.
Like
I know.
We got to have these translators ready to go.
Ready to go.
You mentioned Choi looking like a complete fighter now on this next one with Karol Rosa versus Joselyne Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the exact same thing about Karol Rosa.
Yeah.
Because her striking was really good. The takedowns over and over again. And she was being very smart. So she was willing to trade with Edwards. And as soon as Edwards would start coming forward, then she would go for the takedown.
Yeah. And dude, props to Edwards too. She had her moments too. We talked about her in her last fight. She made her debut.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I feel like she made her debut like 2 weeks ago.
3 weeks.
And she's already fighting again. Maybe not the best call to take this fight right away again. But I think she has a lot to learn from this fight. I'm still pretty high on her, to be honest. I think she can really put it all together because, dude, when it was like the Vitor Belfort, the marching punching. Remember that old school?
Yeah.
And Rosa looked good, and I think she felt safe at the distance, but then it was just like ding, 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 as she's like backing up.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah, it happened a couple times where Edwards
From one end of the octagon all the way across the other end.
Yeah, one punch per step, and but she was also cracking back, man. I think she rocked and wobbled Edwards a little bit more than I expected. Obviously, going into this, her jiu-jitsu was like the highest touted part of her game, and it looked good. Edwards threw up that armbar at one point, or was it vice versa? I don't remember, but yeah, her jiu-jitsu looked great. Good top control, good takedowns. She just won this fight, you know.
Yeah, and that first round, after that first takedown, and I think that she had that top position for a solid like 4 minutes,
Yeah.
3.5, 4 minutes, and there was a part on there where I was just like, what's Edwards' plan here? Because she almost seemed content with allowing Rosa to have the top position and the top control as long as she wasn't taking too much damage, but it just wasn't a very good look. And then finally,
I think it was more about conserving energy.
Yeah, whatever it was, but it's like this is a 3-round fight.
I know.
You know, so let's one round.
Yeah.
And she pretty much gave that round up, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, but I overall a beautiful performance by Rosa. Awesome performance.
All right. Had to deal with some adversity, and got it done.
Yeah,
she changed on Raj, so
that blood just pouring out of her mouth.
Yeah.
There's a couple times that she was like on the top position, she just looks over and spits, and you're just like, what a savage.
Dude, she's like landing ground and pound, and it's like Brad Pitt in Fight Club when he's just like all the blood's falling on that dude. It was like that. It was gnarly, dude.
Poor Edwards. All right, so the next one, Smith versus Jaynes.
Dude, Devonte Smith.
He's legit.
Devonte Smith. Everybody's already high on him, all that stuff, but so it's no surprise. But god damn, dude, that guy can push a pace, and he was just seeing these shots everywhere. There was a point where Jaynes threw that kick and he caught it. Smith threw a kick and Jaynes caught it.
Yep.
And so he had one leg up and he's just like, it was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna let go of this leg. Like, he turned that tight quick.
That's what I noted. That it just seemed that anything that Jaynes threw, Smith had an answer for and made him pay for it.
Yeah, he really did.
That's a perfect example where he caught that leg kick and it was just the right hook, and he brings it back with a hammer fist, and then the right hook and the left, and it's just like you can even
on
see
one leg.
Like, all right, bro, all right, chill, man.
Like, you can have it back.
But dude, he looks so good, man, so fast, so strong.
Dude, to come off from a torn Achilles tendon and look that good and just confident and just still try to be explosive in and out. I mean, everybody talked about when Anderson Silva broke his leg. It's like, what is he going to throw that kick again? Is there going to be a mental block there when he comes back? And man, I would imagine for a lot of people, if you tear your Achilles and then it comes back and you're going back in there, you're at least probably a little bit more hesitant to push off or like dart in and out or throw kicks and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't seem like it for him at all. You know, I think that's all just a thing of the past. Just ready to go.
He looked really good, man. I mean, of course, it was a very lopsided fight, I think, you know, so I don't really have much else to say about that one unless you do.
It was crazy because he was landing that jab and the eye was already swollen for a little bit, and then it seemed like within 30 seconds he just like attacked that eye real quick, and then it was swollen shut, and they were like, fight's over. And it was like, damn, dude, all of a sudden just swole that thing shut. Dude, it was gnarly.
That was pretty bad too.
Yeah, it was nasty. And props to Jaynes. Obviously doesn't want to go out like that, but I mean, he hung
I was
in
just
there.
waiting for him to grab his eye and start screaming.
Yeah.
Wrong organization.
No.
All right, so we have a slow Mike Rodriguez versus Marquez. What'd you think?
I really, really wanted Mike Rodriguez to win this fight, so it was a little disappointing for me. Marquez in the first, he was getting takedowns, and he just like wasn't doing anything with them, and it was frustrating. And it's probably also a little bit of my bias watching it, because I just really wanted to see Rodriguez striking. I just wanted him to get a win. I like the guy a lot. And he just kept getting taken down, and he was doing the right thing, getting to the cage. He was able to get up a couple times, but Marquez was just on the ground, not advancing, not giving him any space, not going for big shots, not going for submissions. I was like, fuck, dude, I thought we were out of this lay and pray era. And then the second round, and when they were standing, Rodriguez was landing good shots, landing a couple good knees. And the second round, just a little bit more of the same. And then, yeah, when he got the choke, I was like, all right, well, I guess it's not lay and pray, right? He got to finish, so I got to respect it. It was good. I mean, it was a good fight for Marquez. It bummed me out.
Yeah, and
Rodriguez.
With Rodriguez, after the second takedown, he looked uber winded.
Dude, his mouth was like,
yeah, and it
seemed like he was forcing it open.
so heavily.
Yeah,
so heavily. So right after that, I was like, man, it's gonna be a long night for slow Mike Rodriguez. But
yeah,
hey,
fought the choke well.
He did.
Yeah,
until you went to sleep.
Dude, it was like when I did that jiu-jitsu tournament. The dude, and at the end, I got the dude in the triangle, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna win this. And then 40 seconds later, he gets out of it, and my legs are shot, and then he takes my back, and then he puts me in a naked choke.
When you were,
but when he got me, I pulled his hand down, and I was like, fuck yeah, I could survive with this. And then instantly he switched the grip, and I was like, fuck. And then I didn't go out, right? But it's like the same thing. He pulled the hand down, and I was like, watch the grip change, and then he grip changed, and I was like, fuck. So it's like
too late.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he went, and when he did get the grip, I mean, he went out like that. It was like instant.
Well, it looked like he had already had the choke on for a bit, and then he was able to pull the hand down. So probably just not enough blood flow from the time that he switched grip for him to, but he was out pretty quick, man. But hopefully we see slow Mike Rodriguez back soon. It didn't look like he took too much damage. I enjoyed watching the fight. Not. And UFC, let's throw him like another striker.
Yeah.
You know?
Or are we trying to kill these prospects?
I don't know, but next one.
But props to Danilo Marquez to get the finish, second round submissions. That's sick.
Yeah.
I didn't like the first round. It didn't seem like he was working towards anything. And then he changed his tune in the second and clearly was working towards something and got it. So it was impressive.
It was all part of the master plan.
Yeah.
All right.
Mike Rodriguez, still my boy.
Darush versus Ferreira. Dude, I love this fight.
Fight of the night. Come on.
I love this fight. Darush is an absolute savage.
He really is, man. And props to Diego Ferreira, too, because that's a fighter that a lot of people don't want to fight.
Yep.
Nobody wants to fight that dude. At least not anybody ranked above him. Nobody's taking that fight.
Dude, Ferreira's game, man. You know, and he was throwing blow for blow. He's clicking and clacking.
He's vicious, man.
And the thing is, you see why a lot of fighters might not want to fight this guy is because as soon as there is any type of exchange on the ground, you see some crazy scrambles. Your legs are in danger. Your limbs are in danger.
Yeah.
With Ferreira, as soon as he's on his back. Mm-hmm. And so those scrambles to start off the fight, so much fun.
So much fun, dude. And, man, the relentless pressure from Darush. I've never seen him fight like this. Just constantly in his face. Just smothering. And, like, looking to improve positions. Looking for heavy ground and pound, which, of course, is giving openings for Ferreira to make these crazy scrambles. And it was just fucking fun, dude. And they were swinging and banging. Dude.
Clicking and clacking.
There was some shots. I thought Darush was going to get the finish in the first. He had that step
after that knee?
Yeah, step in knee to the body, drops him. And I was like, oh, here it comes. But props
I think that's when you see the advantage, though, of a really good jiu-jitsu practitioner where, you know, they get the knockdown. And even then, Darush, he was still a little cautious. He didn't want to just throw caution on the wind, jump in there, get in his guard, and just start trying to, you know, ground and pound. Mm-hmm. He was still trying to be a little tactical about his approach. But, dude, it was just so much fun, man.
It really was, dude. They're both trading shots on the feet. Everybody talks about the low line calf kick, right? This is the next, I think, piece for a lot of people on the ground is in guard, going for that leg lock, just to twist it and force you to get up and turn away so that you can get up.
It's a form of a
great
sweep.
Method. Yeah, just a way to get to your feet, and they were both doing it back and forth. And fun as hell to watch.
Tops his personal best in takedowns with 5 takedowns this fight. That was definitely, I think, the difference because they were both catching each other. Wouldn't let him breathe. And then at the end in the interviews, can we just acknowledge the faces and excitement that DC has when he interviews people? He looks like a kid, man.
Yeah, he definitely does. And props for props for Darush's interview, man. I liked what he said because in this division specifically, it's such a stacked division that there's these guys that, like we talked about it, where I think I was talking to George about it actually, like 10 through 15, 10 through 17 in the lightweight division right now. Dude, they're ready for the top 5. They're ready. They got some guys in there that they just need the shot. They just need to get in. Like, why are we putting these guys against each other? Ferreira should have had a fight to get to the top 5 at this point. Darush probably should have fought somebody a little bit ranked higher also. It's just it's so stacked. There's a logjam right now. And part of that is because of Kape retiring and them not stripping him. They should have stripped, obviously with hindsight, they should have stripped him as soon as he retired. Made Conor versus Dustin for the belt. That fight's over. Let's get Oliveira in there. Let's start going through this list and clearing out contenders so that there's room for these other guys to start coming forward as well. And it's just log jammed right now.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So, I also like the fact that he calls out for his buddy to get a shot at the UFC,
awesome.
which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy, dude.
He really does. I'm a big Darush fan.
Same. You know what? I think part of it, I always have been, and so growing up, I was always into like knights and shit, right? Like medieval shit. And one of my favorite movies, like of all time, growing up, I used to watch it all the time, was A Knight's Tale. Partly because you ever seen that with Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger, yeah.
Part of it was because it was knights. Obviously, I loved all that shit. But then also his name was Will, right? His name was William, and I was like, "Fuck, that's hype as hell, dude." And because I was a little kid, right? But then also there's in that movie there's the king who loves jousting, but nobody ever he has to hide his identity to joust because as soon as people find out who he is, they're like, I'm not gonna risk hurting the king, right? And people find out, and then they back out, and he's just like shit. And he's so cool. He's the one that frees Heath. Spoilers. His movie came out a long time ago, but he's the one that frees Heath Ledger when he gets arrested, right? And I always thought his character was so sick, and him and Darush look so similar that I think like subconsciously I make a connection between them for no reason. And I'm just like, Darush is sick, man. He's like the king from A Knight's Tale.
That's hilarious, dude. Hey, whatever reason you like Darush for, whether it's because of Knight's Tale or yeah, dude. For me, it's a resurgence for Darush. 100%. Like he kind of falls off the face of the earth for a little bit, and then he comes back, and he's absolutely a monster.
Comes back Bangkok ready, man. He's a jiu-jitsu fighter. That's his bread and butter. But
he fell in love with slinging and banging. So and you see that happen a lot. Once they get a few of those knockouts and they realize like, hey, I got some power in these hands.
Kelvin Gastelum.
That's a perfect example. All right.
Darush. Shout out.
Next one. So our parlay wheel that we put through didn't go too well.
Nope.
And it started with Kape, or as they call him, Kape.
Manel Kape. Yeah.
I've
been calling him Kape this whole time because I'm an idiot, but
so Kape
this was a frustrating fight.
Pantoja.
Yeah, this is a frustrating fight, and this is also part of why I texted you about why I'm pretty much just like super frustrated with the MMA community. Not the fighters, right? But just like the fan base is just it's fucking hard to even just like have conversations with people about this sport now. And it sucks because it used to be so fucking cool. It was just like such a like not a small, but it was just like a
community.
Separate community. It was a community that was like just so like unique, and everybody was into the same thing, and now it's so fucking toxic, dude. It sucks. I don't know what changed and why or when.
It's filled with trolls.
Dude, it's just every time for a long time now on the MMA subreddit, it's massive now. And for a long time, every time a fight ends, someone will post the end sequence or them announcing the decision as a clip, and that's the discussion thread for that fight, right? And almost every single fight now, all the top comments, and everybody is agreeing it and feeding into it, all the top comments are about the loser of the fight and what they did wrong and they look like shit, all this stuff. Nobody ever talks about the fact that the winner just fought a better fight. Everybody's talking about Conor and why he lost to Dustin instead of why Dustin beat him. You know what I mean? And this fight, dude, I still think Manel Kape's going to be the champ in the next 2 years. It was a frustrating fight. UFC debut. Not everybody has a debut like Gaethje and Chandler. You know what I mean? There's a reason why everybody was thinking that Chandler was going to lose that fight. And a big part of it was that most people have bad UFC debuts. You know, most people do not fight to their capabilities in their debut in the UFC. And Manel Kape has been, rising champ, right? He's had these high profile fights, but it's different when you get to the UFC.
Yeah.
And I thought going into this fight, or at least throughout the fight, it looked like Manel Kape, obviously you don't know what's going through his mind, but he was seeing everything, man. He was seeing everything. And I think he fought at the level of, I'm better than this guy. And this is no disrespect to Pantoja. He fought a fantastic fight. But it seemed like the mindset and the fighting of Manel Kape, it looked like, I'm better than this. I'm seeing everything he's throwing. I'm dodging most of the stuff he's throwing. I'm blocking most of the stuff he's throwing. I'm a sniper with my shots. I can hit him whenever I want. And it seemed like he was coasting with that. And everybody, one of the biggest things that bugs me with the MMA community is when a fight goes to decision and the loser of the fight is upset with the decision and they're confused with it and they're like, what the fuck? Dude, people don't realize that, and they're like, how could he think he won that fight? What a fucking idiot. You see that all the time on decision wins or decision losses. Like, he clearly lost this round. But, dude, that's from you sitting at home watching the fight with the perfect camera angles, with commentary who are leaning one way or the other. You can see they show you the total strikes landed. Dude, when you're in there and you're getting hit with something and you're like, didn't faze me, didn't really bother me. I blocked this shot. I dodged this shot. I hit him. That felt good. I'm hitting him whenever I want. Dude, you're not watching it from a third-person perspective. You feel like you're winning the fight. Mm-hmm. I've sparred with people. I've boxed with people. I never feel like I got knocked out once, but other than that, I never feel like I'm losing. I feel like I'm winning the whole time.
And even when you got knocked out, you're probably like, what?
I was winning up until that point. And but it's for all these people who are like, what a fucking idiot. Thought he showboated the whole time while he was losing. Dude, he thought he was winning that whole fight. And guess what? When you're in there, it's so hard to know what the judges are thinking. You're focused on the fight. All you know is, I'm not hurt. I'm landing my shots. I'm dodging his shots. Pretty sure I'm winning this shit. On a close fight like that.
So at that point, do you put it on his corner, Will? To be able to say, to pick up the urgency and say, hey, dude, this is a lot closer than we think, man. They
should have. They definitely should have. And this is something that has been in his past. If you watch some of his Ryzen fights, he does this. Dude, he's a fucking sniper. I don't know what his striking accuracy was in this fight, but it had to be above 65%. He sees everything, man. And I think it's easy to coast when you can fight like that. And the sense of urgency has always been the biggest struggle for him, I think. Maybe this will clear that from him and he'll realize, because, dude, there's a couple times where, dude, when he's on the retreat, all the body, I hate also volume for the sake of volume winning a fight. If I'm throwing a bunch of shit and you realize if you throw a body kick and I block it, you know that still counts as a landed strike, right? Just because you blocked it doesn't mean it technically didn't land on the scorecards. And to a certain extent that matters, but the body kicks for the sake of body kicks that he's evading, the leg kicks that he's evading, the shots that he's evading, I know the scoring criteria, you do not score defense. But that being said, he's picking his shots and landing clean on the retreat, right? When he's on the outside, he's dodging shots and he's landing these big shots. Pantoja was still landing big shots as well. I'm not going to say he wasn't. He still looked really good. Pantoja's a big threat. But I feel like it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's seeing those shots and dodging those shots and landing when they want to be like, I need to pick up the sense of urgency. So like you said, the corner needs to push that probably. I had him winning the second round. Well, no, I had him winning the third round definitely, because not only on the retreat was he landing his shots, but every time he would press forward, he was getting the better of the exchanges, I thought. And the second round was a toss-up for me. I think you could definitely score it for Pantoja. Depends on what you like. Everybody was talking about how he lost all 3 rounds and looked like an idiot showboating the whole time. Dude's a cocky douchebag. All this, dude. If you go through the Reddit thread of this fight, it's fucking disgusting. It's like this guy he just went out there with a very scary striker in Pantoja, and I thought fought a good fight. I think it was you could go 29-28 either way, in my opinion.
After this fight, I thought that the kicks probably did it for Pantoja. Just maybe was what edged it out for him.
It had to be.
And then even after this, I thought to myself, Manel belongs in the top 5.
Yeah.
He belongs
Definitely.
in the top 5. So after the fight, I didn't think like, oh man, he was overhyped. You know what
Dude,
I mean? Like,
there's people.
Thanks a lot for the parlay, Will.
Dude, there's people that are like, the wheels fell off the hype train before it even left the station, and it's like, why? It's a close fight.
I mean, that's kind of clever though. I wouldn't say it fits this right now.
You think they came up with that? Come on, that's been said for years and years and years. Fuck those.
All right.
But what did you think? What did you think? I talked a lot about that, obviously.
No, I just told you what I think, man. I after the fight, I feel like I edged it for Pantoja as well. I still think Manel belongs in the top 5. He's going to be around for a very long time. He's going to be contending for a belt here in the next year or two. I just think that he just didn't show enough.
Yeah.
He just did not show enough, and that's it.
And dude, but you can see when he did show, you can see the fucking dude, his level of striking is so high, man, that I think he just needs to...
His speed, man. I was uber impressed with his speed.
Dude, yeah, his slip counters are so fucking good, too. I don't know. Other people were also... I saw another post that had a shit ton of upvotes. Like, it was not a controversial opinion. That was like, old Dana would have tore up his contract on the spot after that performance. And it's like, what fight did you watch? What fucking fight did you watch? That was a great fight. They both looked great.
And so that's one of the things that like I text you about, right? Where the nice thing about the sport is that more people are getting to see a sport that we love, right? The nice thing about the growth of the sport. The bad thing about the growth of the sport is that you have a lot of folks that say, just bleed. Just like, we mess around about that.
Yeah.
Right? But like the Woodleys versus Wonder Boys, I love that fight. It was a chess match. How many of those people that are on that Reddit right now would have seen that fight and been like, that fight was dog shit? Yeah.
There was a lot back then.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to continue happening as the sport continues growing and getting more eyeballs, more viewership. So it just kind of comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just fucking discouraging. And it makes me glad that we're doing this show because obviously that's not how you look at it either. So, yeah, it's just hard, man. Most of the people... I mean, there's a few people that I talked to about MMA outside of this that I feel like are in the same line of thinking as me on that too. But a lot of people, man, just want to focus on the negative, dude. And it's like, why? Why focus on the negative? This guy just went out there and shaved years off of his life for you to just shit on what they did wrong. Like,
and see, that's the thing. Everybody just views this as entertainment for themselves. And they don't think, again, about what's truly at risk for these fighters, what it is that gets sacrificed, the work, the blood, the sweat and tears that gets, dude, the balls to just be able to go in there and thousands and thousands of people, millions in some cases, are going to be viewing what you're doing. Yeah. And they're putting it all on the line, man. Yeah. But because you've boxed a buddy in junior high and you knocked him out, you're like, well, dude, I can fucking knock that guy out. What's this guy doing? You know what I mean? And that's the frustrating part.
It's frustrating. And dude, like when I got knocked out, like we were just talking about, when I got knocked out in front of maybe like 4 or 5 friends, right? And I wasn't fighting somebody like we weren't like mad at each other, right? We were just fighting, and so I got knocked out in front of like 4 or 5 friends. Dude, I was so embarrassed. I cannot even imagine how it would feel to get knocked out in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And so, in Conor's case, over 2 million people watch him get knocked out. Cannot even imagine what that feels like. So it's like,
He handled it well, though. He handled it well.
100%.
You know, there was another one of like, because I told you on Facebook, I'm part of a couple of groups that just cover MMA. Dude, these groups since that fight have been the worst.
Yeah.
Because it's somebody posting saying that Conor sucks and washed out, and everybody just like, what are you talking about? Conor's the best, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody posts, Khabib's the one that sucks. And that's just been it for a month. It seems like it's just so frustrating, man.
It's a bummer, man.
And people saying, well, Conor didn't even care. Like, he shouldn't even be fighting anymore. It's like, dude, he cares. Like he said, like right after the interview, he said, I'm absolutely gutted about it. But what do you want him to do? You know, if he cries like DC did, then everybody's talking shit that he's crying in there.
Yeah.
If he handles it the way that, if he handles it the way that McGregor handles it, then he doesn't care. Like, what do you want?
Yeah. It's fucking
What do you
stupid,
fucking
man.
want? All right, anyways, we're getting all
It's
pissed
so
off.
frustrating, man.
The next one, going
Just
from
bleed.
being frustrated right now to somebody that makes me happy whenever I watch him fight. Clay the Carpenter Guida, man. Oh my!
Fucking gotta love it, man.
Gotta love it. And
Dude.
when we're talking about the top fights to watch, and again, there's just some names that always came up for multiple fights. Fucking Clay Guida is one of those names. Just one of those names, Clay Guida.
Yeah.
And it's not even just so much like the whole just bleed mentality, but
the
energy, like the bouncing back and forth, the crazy hair,
the character,
like his trainer just slapping him in the face.
That's
you know
his
what I
brother.
mean? And again, a fucking grinder, man.
Yeah,
just
dude.
grinds out
burps.
his fights. Oh, dude, yeah, when he's sitting in the corner. But dude, he's just somebody I've always enjoyed watching. And
dude,
this fight was classic Carpenter.
Classic Guida. I was watching it with Katie, and just the walkout, he's all amped and stuff, and Katie's like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" And throughout the fight, I was like, "Watch this. This is what's gonna watch this right before he gets in. Watch." And then they're doing the slaps, and she's like, "What?" And then after the round, I'm like, exhausting pace that he pushes. And I was like, "Watch. As soon as the round's over, he's gonna get up and he's gonna jog over to his corner with some pep in his step, and what do you know? That's what happens. As soon as the fight's over, he's jogging circles around the cage.
He looked like he was ready to go 3 more rounds.
And that's every fight. That's Guida every single time. You get the burps, you get the jogging after the fact, you get the slaps every single time, man. That guy has energy.
Dude, I get tired watching him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when he's clinching up against the fence and he's just going for the takedown, single leg, and he switches back to double leg and single leg, and it's just nonstop grinding.
Yeah.
I get tired. That might be why I'm still sleepy, man. You know, because I just got so tired of watching Clay Guida last night. Dude, he was fantastic, and that he would level change and come up with that right, and it kept on finding a home.
That right hand, dude.
Dude, I was surprised because Dominic Cruz gave Team Alpha Male some props.
I know.
Where he was like, hey, well, that's something that Team Alpha Male boys are really good at, is that right hand, the guillotines. You know, and like he was giving Team Alpha Male a bunch of props, and I was like, look at that.
Gross.
That's nice, yeah. All right, good job, Dom.
And props to Michael Johnson, man. I really like watching. Every time Michael Johnson fights, it's an exciting fight. Whether he wins or loses, dude, he has some of the slickest hands in the sport. He really does, man. He's long and straight, and his hands are so fast. And dude, he's not hesitant. You know what I mean? Like, dude, Guida's.
You know who reminds me of him? Kevin Holland.
Yeah,
like just
very
a long
striking.
Reach. Yeah,
he's like a snake.
Exactly.
Man. They're like snakes the way they strike. And man, that first round, I was like, holy shit, man! This is like they both just plant their feet and they're just fucking dude. And Guida was landing that right hand every single time, and Michael Johnson's landing his straight punches. And I was like, this is fucking gnarly. And then Guida starts mixing the takedowns, which ultimately was the difference maker in this fight, right? Because the striking was pretty even. They were both getting the better of each other throughout the fight. But dude, that pace by Guida, the first takedown he landed where he had the single leg and he just yanks it up, and I was like, fuck, man, so explosive. And that was the difference maker, you know. And Michael Johnson, win or lose, man, every single fight he's in is exciting. And people like to shit on him, right? Because he loses a lot of high profile fights. But I mean, the man knocked out Dustin Poirier. He's beaten Tony Ferguson. You know, like he's legit, man. I really like Michael Johnson, and I would like to see him get some wins, right? I'd like to watch him get those wins, but I know he's had a tough career.
Michael Johnson, I think of him, and I think of somebody that just like he just had so much potential. You know what I mean?
I think he still does, man. He ate some because his chin's not gone. You know, I mean, he ate some big. Obviously, Guida's not the hardest puncher the sport's ever seen, but he ate some big shots in this fight and didn't go down once. So I think he still has the skill set, man. I don't know what the missing piece is there, but
it might be up here. I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's had a rough go since he lost to Khabib, and I don't know if you remember, but
Brutal.
Khabib had him up against the cage, and he was talking to him,
Yeah,
telling
it was
him
brutal.
to give up, that it was his time. He should be getting the title shot.
Yeah.
Imagine what that does to a man. To a man's will, like being down there and there's nothing you can do, and there's another man on top of you just pounding the shit out of you, talking to you while it's going on. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but since the Khabib fight, he's 2-6.
That's tough, man.
And you know,
but
the
you
wins,
look at the names, man. You look at the names after
Khabib,
Justin Gaethje, Darren Elkins, which he was winning the fight up until he wasn't, which is you could say that a lot about Michael Johnson fights. Andre Thiele, tough fight. Won that.
Wait,
Artem
time
Lobov.
out. Right there. The GOAT.
Yeah.
If he beat the GOAT, you thought you would think he'd bounce back from the Khabib fight, you know? Artem Lobov.
But then, man, Josh Emmett, and that was a savage fight, man. And I think he was winning. From what I remember, he was winning again up until he wasn't. Got knocked out in the last round. Or I don't know if that was. I don't think that was the main event, but Stevie Ray didn't get that one done. Thiago Moises, ankle lock in the second. Clay Guida, but I don't know, man. I think there's nothing. I think it's all mental, like you said. There's nothing skill set wise why he's losing some of these fights, man. Because man, he's slick, dude. I think he just needs to somehow put it all together. I know he's at Sanford MMA now, and he looked great in this fight, but it's just that the Clay Guida mixed it up so well, man. You know, because the Clay Guida style, man, is so. It's such a guesswork style. It's not just grueling, but the way he throws the overhand, he level changes overhand, level change uppercut. Sometimes he level changes and actually goes for the takedown, and he's good at all three of those things. So you really don't know. And they were even talked about it every time he would level change, like the feint.
Hips back.
Michael Johnson's hips go back. Uppercuts are there now, and then once you start adjusting for that uppercut, takedown's there. So like, I know people can see this as he lost to Clay Guida, who's way past his prime, maybe. He's been in the UFC for way too long. He should have won this fight. Clay Guida's not an easy fight, man. People forget that he was gonna beat Brian Ortega before Ortega knocked him out in the end of the fight with the knee. That was it. Clay Guida was gonna win that fight. He's no slouch. You know what I mean? I texted my buddy Sam because.
Dude.
Go ahead.
55 fights.
Yeah,
Clay
man.
Guida. 55 fights.
Fucking dog, dude. And he's had wars all throughout and just still seems the same. You know, he seems the same. I texted my buddy Sam because Guida's always been one of Sam's favorite fighters. I was like, dude, Guida just had like a vintage performance. And he was like, dude, I heard. So, I mean, this was fun to watch. It was a fun fight. And you got to give respect to both of them for that. You know, they put on a great fight.
Yeah, and you know, Clay's had a little bit of a rough go too, man. He's 2 for 4 in his last 6 fights. So, but good win for Clay Guida, man. I'm always happy to see him fight, and even happier to see him get the W.
Yeah.
Man, this next one though, talk about heartbreak. This is where the heartbreak starts, really. This part of the night, and for me, this is my story of the fight. I don't know about you, Will, but god damn, is Cory Sandhagen good?
Yeah, man, he really is.
That knee, that flying knee, right on the button, man. Mm-hmm. And I respect the walk-off and the fact that he didn't turn right away and tried to,
dude, he looked upset.
Man.
He looked upset. Dude, like his demeanor, his eyebrows, he did not look happy. He had his celebration, but then as soon as that was over, he looked upset. Didn't look happy.
He says it in the interview. He's like, man, I'm happy, but it's Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
You know, it's Frank, and it just goes to show how much respect all these fighters have. This entire organization has for Frankie Edgar.
Dude, he said he didn't even want to watch the replay. He's like, "That's Frankie Edgar. I don't want to watch that."
And he did say something though, because man, I was pretty bummed out watching that type of knockout, Frankie Edgar. Even when Brian Ortega knocked him out with like the uppercut, like in Street Fighter. I don't remember what it's called. Hey, Richard Casual, what's that uppercut called again?
That's a Shoryuken.
Oh yeah, it's the shore you can. Yeah, yeah.
See, I knew my boy would know. But that this knockout was for me 10 times worse than that because he just stiffened up right away, arms straight down, face plants, and you hate to see
It's
a
hard
legend.
to watch, man.
Yeah, and he said it's Frankie Edgar. You don't want to see that, but better him than me.
Yeah,
and that's what we signed up for. And I was like, fuck, that was a really good response there from Cory, the Sandman Sandhagen, man.
It sucks because, man, Frankie, like you said, Frankie's such a legend, man, and he's always been so durable. But I don't think anybody can take that. I don't even think that's a lot of people are saying Frankie should probably retire at this point, all this stuff. I don't even know if that's true. I don't think so. I think anybody who gets hit with that is going down. I mean, he's been finished 3 times in his career. You know what I mean? Like, granted, they're all pretty recent, but there's Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie, Sandhagen. Those guys finish fights. Doesn't matter who they're up against, you know?
Was it Pedro Munoz who he just fought before this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pedro Munoz put lights out. Yeah.
I thought he won
that fight.
So, should he retire off that? I mean, again, recency bias for a lot of people where they're like, oh, well, we don't want to see a legend go down this road, just retire now. But, I mean, he still has some more fights in him.
Dude, I think, how about this? I think if he matched up against Petr Yan, I think he probably beats Petr Yan.
I don't disagree.
You know?
But then again, I'm not a big Petr Yan fan, so.
Yeah, he could lose my number after he posted that video. But,
yeah.
Yeah, there's still I don't think Frankie's done. If he did retire from this, I wouldn't be upset. You know, I think you get ahead of the curve because it will catch up to you eventually. And how many more of these do you want?
All right, dude, listen to this. So he fights. Oh my God. Jose Aldo, Benson Henderson, Charles Oliveira, BJ Penn, Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo again, Jeremy Stevens, Yair Rodriguez, which we watched live here in Dallas, loses to Brian Ortega, beats Cub Swanson again, loses to Max Holloway, loses to Korean Zombie. Dude, these names.
Yeah, he's never had an easy fight. Not once. And
jeez, man.
I don't think he ever lost a lightweight belt.
Gray Maynard. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah. Some
of the most legendary fights there, you know, but it's just, dude, this guy's an absolute legend. Yeah. And, you know, he lost to Cory Sandhagen, who is I've said it before, he's going to be a champion.
Yeah, 100%.
He lost to Korean Zombie, absolute monster. Max Holloway, one of the GOATs.
Yeah.
Dude, give this guy a break. He got caught.
He got caught.
Dude,
he got caught by a very unorthodox, very creative, very good striker with a massive shot that would have put everybody out.
Yeah.
It sucks because, man, the top 3 in that division, Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling, and Cory Sandhagen, so good, dude. The fact that Aljamain caught Sandhagen early like that with his choke, man, so high level. I do think at this point I think Aljamain's probably going to beat Petr Yan and take the belt, and the next fight is Sandhagen for the rematch. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting a trilogy here if Sandhagen wins this. I think Sandhagen probably beats Aljamain in the rematch, and then a trilogy fight there, which is fucking awesome, dude. Aljamain and Sandhagen stylistically is such a fun matchup, dude. No matter, I'd watch that fight 10 times.
But you know when we think not just about his last couple losses, but how he's won against Marlon Moraes,
dude,
with that wheel kick.
Dude, wheel kick and then flying knee knockout against Marlon Moraes and Frankie Edgar. What the fuck? That's crazy. Just that alone, that's crazy.
He just keeps on building that resume up, man. Do you have anything else on that fight?
No, other than his one weakness that you could argue is his wrestling, which I thought would be the path to victory if Frankie were to get the win here. And the more we see from him, and that's how Aljamain beat him, right? The more he has these fights, the more time he's working on that wrestling that we're not getting to see it yet. And I think he's going to surprise some people with his ground skills when he finally does get forced to use them. I'm excited.
I think he said that too, right? That he was excited to show what he's been working on in some
Better
of
that
his
he
wrestling.
doesn't. Better that he doesn't, dude, because he's gonna need it against Aljamain, you know. So he's
True.
gonna have to earn some respect on the wrestling credentials with Aljamain. I think he probably will too. You know, I think it's gonna be an eye opener.
All right, to finish it up here, Volkov versus Overeem. Pride never dies.
This is my story. Pride never die.
The way you say it.
Dude,
I think that's how a lot
man.
of people felt last night.
Dude, just to see Frankie go down like that and then see this fight, it was just like, oh, cool. So, like, my childhood heroes are just going to take them all from me, you know?
That's when you know you're getting old, Will.
It's a bummer, man. Overeem. Obviously, we've seen Overeem lose like this before. And, dude, this goes back to the point I was saying about the Pantoja versus Kape fight. Dude, the disrespect on Overeem after this fight has been insane to me. I saw one guy, and it got like 30 upvotes, so people are agreeing with him. Probably more because some people, I know I downvoted him, so some people are downvoting him, but even more upvoting him, right? Said that 0 out of 10 performance, Overeem looked drunk in there. What the hell? And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, and I was like, maybe he just fought a super powerful striker. Did you ever think about that?
Maybe he shouldn't have used the rope-a-dope tactic again with the high guard.
Dude, no. I think what it was, and Overeem even said it this morning, Volkov put on 25 pounds of muscle coming into this fight. And he was talking about how he just feels more powerful now, and that's always been what he feels like he was lacking. He's been a volume kind of guy at heavyweight. I think he has the highest striking differential in the UFC right now, which is crazy for a heavyweight to have that. But he wasn't able to just like land that knockout blow with his hands. So he put on 25 pounds of muscle, looked gigantic in there, made Overeem look small. I think this is more about, obviously we know Overeem at this point in his career is not in his prime. This wasn't Overeem beating himself. This was Volkov coming in and putting the stamp down and saying, look, I'm a fucking contender at this point. Like, dude, Volkov is a legit threat to pretty much everybody in this division, in my opinion. I remember when he signed, I was like, dude, he's going to be a champ. And he's had some ups and downs, but he's dealt with that adversity well and has made the necessary adjustments, clearly. I mean, he looks like a world beater. And in that first round, Overeem was landing that overhand left over and over and over again. And Volkov was eating it for breakfast. And then he also landed a very sneaky big uppercut. That first round, up until the end of that first round, I had Overeem winning that round. But then Volkov snapped him back with a jab and broke his nose. And Overeem said this morning that once that happened, he didn't know where he was. He was in a dream, basically, and he just couldn't put anything together. He felt flat. After that, he's concussed. You know, he's fighting a fucking monster. So all these people talking about how Overeem looked like shit, all this stuff. Maybe Overeem didn't look like shit. Maybe Volkov just beat the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. Why can't we talk about Volkov here? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Volkov just looks like a fucking world beater, man. He really does.
Yeah, and when we think about Overeem, and we were all hoping to see one last run at the title. And quite honestly, if he would have beat Volkov, I think he would have been right there in the conversation.
He would have got it.
And so he beat Sakai recently, which he looked really good in that one. And that's where you saw that high guard rope-a-dope.
And the wrestling.
In the wrestling. And, you know, he took some big shots from Sakai.
Yeah.
But, I mean, can't expect to do the exact same thing against Volkov, right?
Yeah.
Beat Walt Harris before that. But when we think about him making another title run, and you see the names that he's actually lost against, Rosenstruck, Volkov, right? Curtis Blades, Francis Ngannou, Stipe, all these names that are ahead of him in the rankings. And it's kind of just like a reminder, like, oh, like we got our hopes up. Yeah. But really, when you see these other names that were up there with him, I really don't see him beating him either way.
I mean, I think he beat Rosenstruck. I know he got finished, but he won that fight, in my opinion.
That's true. After he He got that nasty cut. He was winning up until then.
And there was 10 seconds left, and he was not out. I think the history of Overeem getting knocked out played a lot into the decision to stop that fight. That he got dropped at the end of the round. Round ends. He wins the fight. He beats Sakai with nasty ground game, nasty ground and pound, great top control, which is what I thought he was going to be able to utilize against Volkov and get the win here.
That's what I was hoping I'd see last night. Yeah.
I still think he beats. I mean, the problem with Overeem, we've talked about, he's a glass cannon at this point in his career. But dude, those left hands that he was landing on Volkov in the start of the round, the uppercut he landed, those are getting the attention still. That heavyweight, you can be a glass cannon, you know? All it takes is one big shot. Volkov was just eating him, you know? So, I mean, it was unlikely that he was going to get a belt, but it was still a possibility. At heavyweight, everything's a possibility. You know what I mean? With Francis Ngannou, clearly he takes people's heads off, but I don't think he's making the adjustments he needs to be making, and then he's going to get exposed, I think, again. Even if it was just from I think Cyril Gane is going to expose Ngannou if they ever cross paths. I think Ngannou is going to swing wild, and Cyril Gane's discipline is going to allow him to pick the straighter shots and catch him. I wouldn't be surprised if Cyril Gane finishes him, to be honest. Obviously, just like with Overeem, it's heavyweight, so all it takes is one. Francis might go out there and land that one and knock him
Francis.
out. Yeah. So I think the whole, obviously it was wishful thinking, right? The one more run for Overeem. But it's wishful thinking that people were getting caught up in for a reason. You know, it is possible. I mean, he dropped Stipe, you know, and it's not like he was fresh when he dropped Stipe. I mean, he already had 50 fights up until that point. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it's just a bummer. You hate to see your heroes go down like that. Unfortunately, it's the 15th time we've seen Overeem go down like that. He's not going to retire, though. He's making $800,000 every time he fights, you know? He's not going to retire.
Yeah. I mean, that's some nice change. I was just taking a look at his career disclosed earnings. These are just the disclosed earnings. $4.6 million, close to $4.6 million.
Yeah, I'm sure it's way more, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But
I'm sure it's
legend
way
of the
more.
sport, man. Legend of the sport.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about how, man, it's got to be disappointing for him to come up short with that UFC title. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Dude was the Dream champ when Dream was legit. K1 champ. Like, he doesn't need it. Strikeforce champ does not need it. You know, he's had his moments in the sun. This is all after the fact now. You know.
Yeah, you know the one beautiful thing I did want to point out from Volkov is that with his range and the way that he was keeping his left hand out there to just kind of measure that range, and he'd have this while his arm was out there, he'd have the quick jab from the rangefinder,
dude,
that kept on bugging.
And it's stiff.
Overeem.
That jab is. Yep. Dude, that jab is going to cause problems for a lot of people in that division. I think Volkov, if I had to bet, if Stipe beats Francis, I think he might retire. Because at that point, what are you going to do? You know, who are you going to fight? He's already talked about being in and out of retirement thoughts and stuff like that already, so maybe that happens. But man, with Volkov, Ngannou, Cyril Gane, Rosenstruck, I think is in there too. The top five in heavyweight is anytime there's a trilogy like the DC Stipe trilogy, things get bogged down and log jammed. But now that we're past that, it's about to be super exciting because Volkov I think could be the champ, Cyril Gane could be the champ. I don't think Rosenstruck at his level right now. Maybe if he makes some adjustments and changes, but man, Volkov, Stipe, Ngannou, Cyril Gane. All those guys, they can play Rochambeau for the belt.
Curtis Blades up there too. You know what I mean?
The problem is
there's
you're right.
I was just gonna say there's a few different names in there where styles make matchups. So it just depends, right? If you get a Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blades is able to slip a few of these punches, that's a big if.
Yeah.
And he's able to take Ngannou down and just tire him out. Like, who knows? You know, it just depends on who's where at that point in time. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that was the card. I don't have anything for Will's Wisdom right now because I figured this This podcast is going to go a little bit longer, considering that we have Bareknuckle Boxing mentioned in here as well for the first time. This is a story of the fight first.
Yeah. Chris Leben, man. Ride or die.
Chris Leben. Right. All right. Do you have anything else, Will?
No, I don't.
No? Awesome. Well, that's another week of Story of the Fight. Thanks for listening, everybody.